name is Candid Witkowski. I am the Director of Business Development here at Scoop Soldiers. One of my jobs is get to co-host the Find Your Gold podcast. And we're in Tampa this weekend helping out a franchise owner at an event. And our franchise owner, Ron, has such a fabulous story that I wanted to I kind of voluntold him that I wanted him to be in our podcast and share some of the information, some of the knowledge and the stuff that he's done. I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn something new that I'm like, what? How is that possible? Mm-hmm. So I'll introduce Ron here. He is our franchise owner for Orlando, Tampa, and Frisco. So tell us a little bit about, let's just start with what was your first business? What was the first business you ever owned?
Well, it was my parents' business because I grew up in a family business.
Okay.
And I never understood why our dad made us work so hard. And I'll tell you how it started. And, we were going to have to go to college. My dad grew up in the Depression, an Italian immigrant family with nothing. And I didn't care if I was sick, whatever ailed us, he would always say, I know how to cure it. What? Work. And so that was my dad.
True, right?
That was my dad. And he would make me, I'd go to high school. In fact, my first job out of college, I got sent to California, and people said, why are you going so far? I said, because they won't expect me to come back for the weekend and work. And so, because I worked every weekend at our restaurant till I moved away, literally.
Okay.
And so anyway, I did that, and so I got a nice gig. I got sent out to Texas with a Fortune 75 company, and came in one day and everything was peachy and rosy, and they just said, oh, by the way, we're shutting it down. And they just transferred me out here. I had just gotten divorced, upside down in a house after 9/11, and I went, one of the ladies, director nurse, and said, Ron, that's the whitest I've ever seen you, because I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad always saying, I used to ask him why he made me do all these things. I had all these grand plans for what I was going to do. He said, because if you're not afraid to work, you'll never go hungry.
That's so true.
And so I couldn't get a job at that point. The market had dropped. I was upside down.
And you were in Texas at this point, right?
Plano, Frisco, yes.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had moved from Atlanta to there.
Okay.
The company had moved me, and I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
And I was at a church group therapy. We're all in. I was in a large group of people. We were all freaking out at this time. And I remember moving to Texas. At every lunch break I would go to, if I got gas, there was lawn care trucks in the parking lot. You just see all these trucks everywhere you go up and down the road. I'd never seen that much before anywhere I lived. And so, and I was an executive at the company I just left, and so I kind of threw my hand up joking. I said, hey, we could be the unemployed executive grass cutters of Plano. You've heard that name before. Okay, I said that.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of snickered at me. And so I got mad. I went home and wrote up a 2-page action plan for the next meeting. I said, here's what we could do.
Okay.
And I presented it. They laughed at it. I had no intentions of doing it. I was just doing it because that's what
keep your brain moving.
And that's what I had been doing, is making marketing plans and action plans for the company. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try just to give me a little pocket money while I interview for a job. So I started executive lawn care.
Okay.
And what do executives do? They manage. So I came up with the tagline, we were a manager of lawn care needs.
Okay.
And I started cutting grass for cash. I was, kind of a sizzle guy. So I printed up all these nice brochures because I used to get them on my door every day.
Okay.
I said, these are trash. I'm not going to look at them. So I made them as nice as I could at that time. This was 2003. And so I made them as nice as I could. And I literally took a cell phone and clipped it on my hip and went out and passed them, stuck them on doors. And I cash advanced and charged, borrowed a truck to buy a trailer and pull it. And I'd go put brochures on the door. If they called me, I'd want to go cut the grass. And then I got enough to where I'd go pick up the people, what we called the box, with the day laborers. So I did that. And I started doing that, never liking it, wanting to do it, but I kept doing it, and it just kept growing because I was doing this because of that church group. And so it morphed into 6 full-time crews, 2 part-time crews, 1,000 customers roughly.
Holy smokes.
And all this. I just kept, after the first year, I was like 9 months, and then boom, it dies.
Okay.
I said, okay, this is the first year.
Right.
What do I do?
Right.
And so, but I had done really well. I said, I just didn't budget well. I said, if I can budget well, I'll be better. And so I borrowed a little money from my mom and paid her back in the spring that year to get me through. And the next year, I said I would, do this one more year because the market was turning around. I started interviewing again.
Okay.
And I was talking to these people, half my age, asking me all these woke questions and corporate questions. And I'm like, dude, you don't know what stress is. Stress is having a $10,000 payroll and 5 in the bank on Friday at 4.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I said,
gosh, I've been there.
Ask me something real.
Yeah.
So I decided after 2 years, I said, you know what, I'm going to start hiring a crew and see how that goes. Well, then it grew from there. Then I got to a point where this is how I met EJ. I had hired a guy to do because I got requests. I was kind of known for a network guy. Who do you know for this? People started calling me that. So I said, well, why can't we do that?
Yeah.
And so I hired a guy to do my fertilization.
Okay.
You have to have licenses and permits.
Yep.
And as I tell everybody, the only thing that made me successful was my innate fear and desire to be lazy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it.
I hate lazy.
Well,
I hate lazy.
but I am. And
No,
because of that,
you are not lazy.
Well, I was too lazy to go get my own permit. So I said, I'm going to hire somebody, let him up there and do it.
Okay, I'm going to say that's not lazy. I'm going to say that that's strategic use of your time.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
There was no way I was going to study, so yeah.
Okay, we'll say that. Again, true.
But thanks for the compliment, but that wasn't the motivation.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and this guy was a nightmare.
Okay.
And I had a contract with him, and I got a call from this guy.
This guy. Is this guy our guy?
Who is this guy? He had a funny little baby and thing on the side of his truck that I used to laugh at his logo, and and this little guy called EJ called me one day.
Oh, okay.
And he started talking to me. He said, I just want to come talk to you about what you're doing. And so I said, why, And I was like this.
Yeah.
The business that I had been into, some of the best friends I made were my competitors. So
right.
I didn't look at it like a lot of the other
always thought
guys
that
did.
Too.
But a lot of the long guys did not feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could tell. But I was like, and I said, well, that's good to meet somebody refreshing. So he came over and he told me, and we got to talking. He said, I want to get in that business. I said, really? I said,
and what was it when EJ met
fertilization.
you? Okay, so he was already so EJ had a lawn care company.
Yes, and that is what started the partnership with him and Josh.
Okay.
Josh came to work for him as the fertilization guy.
Yes.
And Josh got all the permits and
everything.
So EJ kind of did what I did, but he hired Josh and gave him a partner.
Okay.
My guy was not a Josh.
Yeah.
He was not
He'd
the
be a
guy.
great fit somewhere else.
Yes. And so, and he got to talking, and I just liked it. We had met a couple times, and
he's a likable guy.
Oh, and he's a straight shooter.
I love it.
I could tell he was a straight shooter, honest, Christian guy. I said I could trust him. So we made a handshake agreement for him to do my fertilizations because I was getting ready to let this.
So you're mowing, and he's mowing.
And we're competitors.
And you're competitors, but then yet you share the same service, the weed control and fertilization.
I had about 300 customers at the time.
Yeah.
Of fertilization.
Okay. So you subbed him in.
I said, I tell you what, here's my parameters to be a sub for me.
Okay.
Here's the guarantees I give. Here's how I handle it. Here's the percentages I'll need it. And I'll do everything else. All you have to do is go do it.
Perfect.
And I'll send you a check once a month.
Perfect.
And Josh was that guy. And when you talk to Josh, he can tell you some of the stories of working with me. So I'll let him share those with you.
Are they good, bad, or funny?
Everyone who has ever worked for me has cherished the time and glad it's over. And I've gotten compliments, I learned so much, but I would never do it again.
You taught me a lot, but I don't need any more schooling.
I actually had somebody at our Renee's and I wedding party or reception that had worked for me in lawn care in my office, who was interesting, and she came up to me with her, I think husband at the time, or boyfriend, and said, I won't tell you what she said, but she said, I wouldn't have got the job to be where I am today had you not done that for me, though.
Yeah.
As much as I hated it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well,
nice.
that's a good compliment.
That's like a mentor type of thing when you can see the ability or the this is the turn, Find Your Gold podcast. You can see the little nugget of gold in there and you're like, I know it, like you've got it. And then you can help mentor them or kind of nudge them to know it themselves.
And it could be a piece of coal. I'll find it.
It can, yeah.
And I'll go till they quit or it can't be done.
Right.
To where it's
I
cracked
agree.
open, and it's like, oh, there's not one there.
Okay.
And I've had that with a couple people, and I look at that as a mutual failure on my part that I didn't catch it sooner.
Okay.
So I was doing that. Never intended on staying in lawn care. I was doing it just to, at that point, I would have liked to have moved to Florida back in there, because I had lived here in the early 90s.
Okay.
I always said, I'd love to come back here. It's a great, great town for 100 reasons. And but I never got the chance to move here. And when that happened with that day of being let go, I couldn't afford to move because I would have had to come out of so much money out of pocket just to sell my house that I couldn't have moved. And I got caught flat-footed. Okay. So the whole time I was doing this was like, this is a part-time job. Well, 12 years later, I'm still doing it. EJ's still doing my, he came in about half that time, 3 or 4 years before. Okay. And he and I got to be really close. And he said, I like the way you run your business. I do it a lot the same way. Okay. Why don't you sell to me? I said, I don't have anything else to do. Yeah. And I don't have any kids. I don't have anybody like, so I'm going to kind of let it stay at this point. And I'd paid off all my debt and I quit advertising. And I said, I will beat this horse till there's no hair and just ride it out. Okay. Because I gave him a price. He goes, oh, no. I said, that's fine. I can beat this horse and just keep making the money. And if it dies, I'll have enough saved by then. But the whole time I was doing that, I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. So I was always looking for something else. Well, a friend of mine had talked to me about Great Clips.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The franchise.
As a matter of fact, he lives here in Clearwater. Okay. And I started looking into it. And I thought, this is kind of nice. All I did was mow, edge, trim, blow, and go. I wasn't a full-service lawn care, even though that was my motto. I changed it to executive service at economical prices when I quit doing full service. Yeah.
So tell us, so what's the difference between full service and then
landscaping, fertilization, custom projects for the house,
like patios or.
All I did was mow, edge, trim, blow, and go.
Truck pulls up, guys get off, we mow,
12 minutes later,
blow,
we're on to the next.
We're back out. Okay.
And if you wanted bush and bed service, it was a separate truck, separate days.
And because it's route based. You're keeping that truck going, like stop.
People say, why can't they hear it? Only take them 20 minutes. I said, they got 35 yards out of cut out 2 yards.
And it take one guy 20 minutes while the other 4 sit in the truck. Yeah. So yes, I hear your words, customer, but also it doesn't work that way.
And this is all they do, and they're very good at it. Yeah. We never got but maybe 2 complaints in all the years with this guy. Okay. Anyway, and so the whole time I was doing that, I said, that's what I said, I need something else, because this is, it was, you know what it is.
Right. Run the grind.
So I was looking at Great Clips. Mm-hmm. Was calling around. Well, I got a call from a broker, lawn care broker, wanting to buy. He said, hey, I got a route for sale. I said, Joe, I told you, I want to get out of this business. I don't want any more. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I'm thinking about looking at haircuts. Great Clip. He said, really? Okay. As a matter of fact, I got a guy selling a salon suite.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of like my story with John. I said, I had just got a call from a high school buddy asking me about that business in Alabama. Oh. And I said, that's kind of interesting. Okay. Tell me about it, Joe. Bottom line, I ended up.
It wasn't Joe Spry, was it?
Fisher.
Okay. I think, because the broker that I used to sell my businesses was Joe Spry, and I was going to say, how small of a world would it have been that we had
this? He's a Dallas guy, yeah.
Okay.
And I said, well, I don't know. Those things, they take a lot of money. I'm a lawn care guy. I don't really have deep pockets. And he said, all he wants is the commission to sell it. I said, really? Okay. Where is it? And he told me, so I went and met him. And I thought, I could do this. Okay. And I liked real estate at the time. Mm-hmm. And I said, this kind of puts me in real estate. It's commercial leasing, but you rent them at a lot, and do it. So I bought it. Okay. The lawn care, as I said, I had no debt at that time, so I needed to find stuff to keep getting taxes. I said I could either pay Uncle Sam or I can pay myself. So I bought this and fixed it up, filled it up, and I thought, well, this is kind of nice. And then I get a call one day from a guy named Bo. he said, hey, I got this spot over here for be a perfect salon suite. I said, man, I don't have any money. I said, I got a deal on this place.
Right.
I said, you're talking to the wrong guy. You need to go talk to some people. Call Highland Park guys.
Okay.
You know, in Dallas. And he said, just come out and look at it. He called me for probably several weeks.
Okay.
All right, if you'll quit calling me, I'll come look at it. And, so I did. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do anymore. I was working all the time anyway. And again, I'm naturally lazy. I didn't need any more things to do.
Right. And
he showed me this place. It was an up-and-coming location. And I told him the same thing. I said, Bo, you got the wrong picture of me. I said, I got this thing cheap. He said, what if I pay for all the build-out and make your payment very close, and we kind of graduated for this place? I said, shoot me a proposal. I said, I'll look at it.
Yeah, I'm always looking at stuff, right?
And I looked at it and I go, this is like a no-brainer.
Okay.
So I'm now got 2 of them.
Okay.
So
I like that's probably a good piece of information to like share with people is that when you sometimes think that's not going to work, right? You should always maybe take one more step and like pitch it to me. Let me know what you got before I say no. Let me know what you got, and I'll try to figure if it works.
Every time he called me, I wasn't rude to him. I was very polite to him. Told him, I said, I don't think I'm a good fit.
It's just not a good fit
for me.
Yeah.
It's a good fit for me, and maybe not for you, is what I told him.
Perfect. Yeah.
And so I was doing that. Well, these salon suites have break rooms.
Okay.
And I had vending machines in them.
Okay.
And I had all these Spanish guys working for me that wanted to do stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I said, why don't I get some vending machines and let them get some other vending machines and let them do that. I had a guy that would have done it. I had the perfect guys. One of them is working for EJ now.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, one of the ones I thought, I don't want to lose him. What can I do to keep him? And to now he's an employee with EJ.
Okay.
And so I said, I could do that and get a couple of locations, and I could keep him. He's somebody good I want to keep around.
Yeah, find the space.
So I started, in my free time in the office, I started Googling franchises under 50,000, vending machines. Well, one ad popped up one day for ATMs.
Okay.
And I said, interesting.
I know, that always interests me.
Well, I remember at Christmas time.
So it's the ad that popped up was for ATM repair or service, or to own
your own
gotcha.
vending.
Okay.
Own your own ATM vending route. That's how it popped up under vending. And I thought, I remember my sister used to say, well, Mom would give us money, and we'd say, do you like it? She goes, Mom, it's the right color, it's a good size, it never gets old. You know, never goes spoil.
Yeah.
Vending machine, you got dates and drugs, not drugs, but drinks, and they get hot, they pop, and it was kind of a headache. I thought, well, I got this bookkeeper, I've been always sending her an idea, and she would either poo-poo probably 90% of the thing I sent her. I sent her this, she called me back, Ron, I think you need to do this.
Oh, okay.
I said, you do?
Okay.
I would have never thought this, so I looked into it. Well, I got into the vending ATM business. And I thought, you know what, if I did want to sell the lawn care, because again,
I don't like lawn care.
I'm wanting to get out of it. EJ's still hammering me about selling it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if I get this built up, it's no employees. I'm sick of employees at that time. The salon business is a very artistic business, if you know what I mean. It's a lot of drama. And I thought, what can these machines do? So
they're not going to talk back. They're going to show up for
they
work.
They work 24/7.
They don't need,
They have their own issues.
Right.
They only jam at 12:30 at night.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with those. And so I started this, and I started the money from the lawn care business, the money from the salon suite. I started putting the ATM business. Then I had, at that time, I had built it up the salon suites, I had 48, 50 rooms. And I kept 85% plus filled, so it was cash flowing. And by the time I'd gotten to where I was seriously, so I had close to 30 ATMs at all these hotels. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I was literally working probably 7 days a week. I'm going to pick up rents at the salon suite on Saturday, running service machines on Sunday, and working lawn care. And so I said, EJ, I'd love to sell it. Here's what I want. You know, let's just quit arguing. Pay it or I'm going to do something else. I'm going to beat the hair out of it till it dies. And he said, okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
I said, but I don't want it all at once, because I'm hoping.
There's some strategic.
I hope the capital gains changed in a couple of years. It didn't, but that's what I was hoping for. So I sold it, and started doing the Salon Suites.
But you and EJ still remained friends, right? Like you still had a good
We
relationship?
had a payment plan, so I would meet him every 3 months for lunch.
Oh, good.
6 months where we just talk.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
And EJ doesn't really like to talk much, so it's hard to pull
I would go with
stuff
a list
out
of
him.
things, and I would say it first, and then sit and listen. Okay, because I knew if I didn't get it out when we first sat down, that was it. But he kept talking about poop troops.
Okay.
And I kept thinking, that's interesting. Not seasonal, one guy. You don't need all these machines, sharpening blades, buying string.
Yep.
I said, I kind of like it. So he kept talking to me about it. Well, I wasn't interested in it. I had enough between the Salon
Right.
Suites
We're back to the Ron wants to do less, but Ron just keeps doing more.
Yes. And so I don't need that right now. So I get a call one day from a broker. They sent me one of these form letters. They look kind of unique. I say, hey, I really like the way, I know it's formative. You did a creative way. I'd give him his props.
Yeah.
So he came and talked to me, and he said, you ought to sell it. I said, I don't want to sell it. And I said, here's what, I tell you what.
And you're looking to sell
Salon
the
Suites.
Salon Suites.
Had no intentions,
Gotcha.
no desire, hadn't even thought about it. It's just I never say never to anything.
Right.
I got this letter, called the guy, kind of talked to him and fill him out. I go, come meet me. He did. And I said, I don't want to sell it or need to sell it. I kind of need the income right now because the ATM is still building. I said, but if you can get me close to this, I'll sell it.
Okay.
Throw it out there. I said, it won't hurt to put it out there.
Right.
Well, there was a group of guys in Highland Park, Texas,
Okay.
that were just coming to Dallas that wanted to buy everybody in the business.
Okay.
And I have learned when big money comes, again, I was small money. These are venture capital guys.
Yeah.
When they come in and they want to buy, you want to be the first to sell.
Okay.
They pretty much came within 10% of my number. I said,
Perfect.
it's yours.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I did that. And so I was doing the ATM. I said, this is kind of a good retirement. I'm doing about 25 hours a week. I had Renee quit her job. She would ride with me because I'd spend a lot of the day driving.
Yeah.
So we would just spend that time together. And
Okay.
wherever we went, I'd say, if we were in Dallas, let's go to here for lunch. If we were in Fort Worth, we'd go there. Wherever they were, we'd do something around that area.
That's
We
kind of
made
a good
it fun.
mix. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I was lazy, so I said, go with me so I have some fun doing it. So I was doing that, and we were in Portland, Oregon. We go there every winter to see our daughter and grandkids for Christmas. I get this random text. You know how you get random texts, spam all the time?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm interested in your ATM business. My name's so-and-so.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, sure. I said, I'm on vacation. I'll check with you when I get back. I get back. I said, hey, I'm the guy you text about the ATM business. If you want my number, here it is.
Okay.
He called me.
Okay.
He was a player.
Okay.
He wasn't a spammer.
Okay.
And so I went and met him at this office 635. Him and his wife belonged to one of the big churches there. So I went and met him. And I said, well, this is not a bad sign.
Okay. Yeah.
And I really isn't. I mean, he was an honest guy, and he was in his 30s. And I said, so why do you want the ATMs? I said, I've got about 30. What are you looking at? He said, well, I want all of them.
Okay.
I said, all of them.
Okay.
Why do you want all of them? He said, well, long story short, his uncle had taken some company and owned to NASDAQ, and the entire families make buku monies.
Okay.
He lives in San Diego at a house on the beach there, but they had moved to Dallas
Okay.
to buy real estate and develop.
Huh.
But from the money, and that's what he had come to Dallas. And he said, to be honest with you, my wife is bored. And while I'm developing this property and these apartments and this residential, I'm buying her ATMs for her spending money.
Okay.
I said, not bad. I mean, this was like, and so I called my attorney friend, Chris Castro, who is also now represents EJ on occasions.
It's a tangle web of
That's just how the weave.
Yeah.
I was, when I tell people I've known EJ Joshua, I really have. And there's some weaves there that.
And I also think it's really awesome that you could sell a business to a competitor. Well, even before that, you can work together with a competitor and then build a great relationship that you get to sell to them, still maintain a relationship, and then still network to be able to share attorneys,
friends, and so forth.
All the things, I think that's great. That's.
Well, I looked at it differently than a lot of people do. I always looked at,
It's the relationship, it's not transactional. It's the relationship.
Yes, I did. I didn't care what the event was. So, I said, you do, huh? So I sold him.
Okay.
And he, I said, but, he said, well, he said, I just bought this land in North Carolina. Can I just give you part of it down, part of it? I said, yeah, just give me a personal guarantee.
Okay.
He didn't bat an eye. He sent me financials. I went, I'm not worried about this guy paying me.
Okay.
I mean, he was
big
time. It's big money. And I was kind of surprised. I said, yeah. So I called my friend Castor. I said, I'm really not ready to retire. Maybe I'll sell them half. He said, Ron,
take it.
you have one buyer for that business. If they call you, they want it. And I just gave somebody that advice this week.
Yeah.
I said, you sell it.
Take it.
You don't say you could get more.
Nope.
I learned from a friend years ago. He was talking about stock trades. He says, don't get greedy. Leave something in there for the next guy so they have something to buy.
That's so true. That is so true.
I've gotten that way. I never thought I could have got more. I said, I'm going to leave something there for you so you get it. So you're happy. I'm happy. We go our separate way.
Right.
And so I sold it, and I had nothing to do.
So now we've sold lawn care to EJ. You sold the Salon Suites to a venture capital, and then you're like, I'm just going to live my best life doing ATM. And someone said, I don't know, I'll take that from you. And you said, okay.
I wasn't looking to sell I was in 2018, and I was a tweener. And again, I was too lazy to go get a job, and I didn't have enough money to really
not have a job.
Yeah, and I was too young to get on Medicare.
Okay. Or
Social Security.
Yeah.
So, and my attorney, Chris Castro, also, EJ said, don't worry about it, you'll find something.
Right. Stuff comes to you, it just does.
Well, I called EJ, and I told him, I said, EJ, I'm kind of, got nothing going on.
Yeah.
I said, I like that poop. I said, I just got a chunk of cash from this guy from San Diego.
Okay.
And these spiritual capital. You need help with poop troops.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to put some money in for you.
Right.
Because I looked at EJ, and I have told EJ and Josh this, they call me Grandpa.
Which I still think, so the first time I met Ron, I was in town visiting a friend, and they're like, go meet Grandpa Ron. And I don't know what I was envisioning, but when we got to the restaurant, I'm like, this is not Grandpa Ron. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I'm like, this guy is like, you're full of energy and you're just vibrant. I was not expecting that.
I'm probably the oldest franchisee.
Well, I think you might be.
Maybe not. I think I was at one time. I don't know about now.
I'm not. I recently learned that I'm the oldest person that works at Scoop Soldiers.
Well, that's.
So, I guess maybe you're Grandpa Ron and I'll be Grandma Kendra. I don't know. All right. So now
I called him and I was all excited. I said, "This is it. I don't want to be I don't want to be the main guy all the time because there's nobody. Right. In the ATM, you can't have anybody else do it that's not a family or close member because the machines only know how much money you put in it by telling it. Oh. So if you have somebody do that for you, they can say, I put in this much, but put in this much.
Skimmed a little off the top.
And you never miss it till you do up. I didn't balance. When I sold my business, I did CPAs. I said, before I sell this, let's take all these numbers from these 4 years I did this, and let's reconcile them. And they did. He said, Ron, I could get within a couple $100 of where it is.
Perfect.
Because this is a highly scrutinized business.
Yeah.
And I read it like you're supposed to, but I was afraid. I said, I don't want them coming looking at me.
No.
And in fact, EJ, I think, used the same CPA for a while.
Okay.
Again, that was some time. I had referred them, he referred me back and forth to them. So they said, and the main guy at this company came in there and said, with his assistant says, we've run the numbers and we feel like we're in a few $100s of where you should be.
Okay.
If they come after you, I could stand by this all day long.
Perfect.
So I called the guy and said, let's make a deal. And that's when I called EJ and said, I'm ready. I said, give you some money. And he said, let me talk to Josh. So I sat there a couple of days and they were thinking about it.
Okay.
And he called me and said, Grandpa, well, this is before Grandpa. He said, Ron, he said, we really appreciate it. We're going to try to do it ourselves. I said, I was afraid you were going to say that.
But that's good, right? From the lessons that your dad taught you, you're like, gosh, I really would like to have invested in that, but it's, you get it. Like, you get it.
No.
Yeah.
I rib him to this day, but I would have done the same thing if I'd have been him. So I'm not mad about it.
I mean, you can still just tease him on it, maybe poke him a little bit.
Well, here's another backstory then.
Okay.
I said, here's the thing then, because it made me mad. I said, all right, EJ, if you ever franchise that business, I have to be your first franchisee. I've got the money, I'm ready to go, and I got nothing else going on. So I'm your first call.
Okay.
Well, Josh's dad was a salesman.
Okay.
I didn't know Josh's dad. He had a friend that wanted to buy a franchise. And by the time I found out they were selling franchises, and I called him, he said, well, Josh sold one to the guy up in Prosper. I said, I am livid.
I told you.
He said, it wasn't me. Josh did, because Josh was running.
Yeah.
And I knew Josh, but I didn't have the relationship with him. You know, Josh probably didn't love me for working for me as a sub. So I wouldn't have been his first call.
Josh is just a guy full of rainbows and sunshine.
It was different back then because I'm like, you better get over and get this guy.
It is different. It is different, yeah.
He can tell you those stories. Anyway, so I was pretty irritated.
Okay.
He said, well, come to Discovery Day. I said, well, okay, I will.
And so for people that are watching that don't know what Discovery Day is, in franchising, there's usually a discovery process. Some franchisors have a little bit of a different theme to it. And usually there's a series of phone calls or video calls, that kind of stuff that you'll do with the franchise salesperson, franchise development. And at the end of that kind of journey or that due diligence is what's typically called Discovery Day. It's kind of where I always kind of term it as where you come in and get to meet everybody, right? Like before you sign a franchise agreement, which is a big deal, make sure that you know who's supporting you, what that support's going to be, because I joke that there's no givesy backsies in franchising, right? Like you can resell or terminate or close, but you can't be like, change my mind. Like you take this back. It doesn't work that way.
Well, I didn't give you the full story. While I was doing the salon suite business and I just sold the lawn care, as I said, I went and bought a rental house when I sold the lawn care because again, when you're self-employed, I'm not waiting for the corporate savings check. I got to have money to make money. So I said, I'll just sit some of this, half the money he gave me, I'll put it in this house. I'll let it sit there. I don't need it now. I'll let it build. Well, because of that, and I belonged to the Auburn Alumni Club. In fact, I actually ran the club in Dallas for about a few years. I was, so I'd go around and meet everybody. There was the guy there from Auburn that was doing flipping houses. Okay. And he invited me down to his house one day and met his dad, who they were doing We Buy Ugly Houses.
I've seen those. I've seen those.
And I told him, I said, I got some cash. I don't have the time. He said, well, we're trying a new model where you invest, we do all the work, we have the infrastructure streamlined, and we split the profits 50-50.
Okay.
I said, okay, that sounds good, because I was still working salons and ATMs at the time. So I did that. Okay. Well, at his house that night, there was a guy sitting on the couch with his wife named John Amaralfi.
Oh, here we go. Now the names are starting to completely pop together.
So we got to talking about it, and he had started another with Mike. I had been seeing Mike, Renee, in fact, one time on our 2-week anniversary world tour, we stopped in Nashville.
Your 2-week anniversary world tour.
After I sold the ATMs, we took off.
Okay.
And we just went down the coast of Florida and just stopped everywhere.
Okay.
And let her I took her down the entire southwest part of Florida. I wanted her to start getting a taste. I didn't tell her we wanted to move in. I was just letting her get a little taste. And so we stopped and saw Mike and we talked about it. And we ended up, they helped me pick cities, but they picked Birmingham, Alabama, which is my hometown. So I thought, it's a natural fit. So anyway, so I got to know Mike pretty well and talk to him a lot. Well, he had a partner named John Amaralfi. Okay. And so because of that, Mike was in Nashville, John's in Dallas. I had met him a couple times. Said, John's a nice guy. So we go to lunch, we talk, chit chat. And then when I sold the Salon Suites, I said, what are you doing with your fund? And so, and then there was something called doubleclose.net where you do 48-hour loans. I said, we could do some 48 hours. So we were starting a business called doubleclose.net. He and I had done the brochures. I was doing the marketing side. He was doing the back side. And I was coming down that day to show him the final proofs. And I showed it to him. And I said, you know what? I'm going to I forgot how it came up. I said, something I can't do it. I'm going to Discovery Day for something called Scoop Soldiers. He goes, what do you mean? I told him what it was. He pulls out a file.
No.
He started to say, do you know there are people come to your house and pick up poop at that time, $15 a week and take it away? I said, as a matter of fact, I do know about it, and it's franchises. Yeah. He said, really? Yeah. And so we talked about it, and he said, I said, would you want to go with me? Would you mind? I said, I called EJ, and they said, bring him on. So we came over. At that time, I was just going to do Frisco, run it, get rid of everything else, try to build it up to where I'm not doing the day-to-day as much. I needed something for retirement. And, You don't do that with John. John's a spreadsheet numbers guy.
Okay.
And so we went there and we talked, and we were looking at the single numbers, and we were trying to make it work. He said, well, you know, if we do this, and I said, well, I asked him seriously, you know, he said, the numbers really look better if we scale it. I said, would you want to be a partner?
Okay.
He said, would you consider? I said, yeah, I'd consider. Tell me, you know, let's talk about that. So we talked about it. Well, that was my mistake, telling John that, because the next thing you know, he's got big spreadsheets. He said, well, if we do this, and I said, well, we don't have quite enough money to do that.
This is like a great plan.
It's a great plan, but yeah, it's nice you pay me a salary and I'm starting, you got this.
Right.
But I need this money. I'm buying a place in St. Pete.
Yeah.
And I want cash because
Yeah.
I can't get a loan now because I don't have a job. So,
Yeah.
you know, I have cash.
Yep.
And it's a funny story there too, but they wanted proof of funds. I had proof of funds from when the guy gave me all the 20s when I sold my ATM business in my safe. And I showed it to the real estate agent. She goes, well, we kind of need something real. I said, well, there it is.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got. All I
I
can
said,
give
there
you.
it is. That's coming.
Yeah.
And so that went a long place in the real estate market.
Yeah, I bet you it does.
He's got proof of funds. Anyway, so he said, we need this. I said, well, I need that for this.
Okay.
I said, I know a guy from the another guy from my alumni club who calls the financial planners, and he always kidded him about working for the man. He always, you know, said he talked to me about being an entrepreneur. So I called him up one day. I said, all right, Brian, you want to quit working for the man someday? Got an opportunity for you. I said, you don't have to do anything. You, me, and John Amaroff, I introduced you to him. You make the decision after you meet him. I'm sure you will. I even told EJ when I brought him, I said, if I bring John, he'll be the smartest guy in the room. And
he is very smart and very kind.
And so I brought Brian, I introduced him, and I knew he'd like him. So I said, we're going to do thirds. You and I will put up half. John's going to give the financial support and some of the structure, and he's put in a share, but he had just bought something else, some land in Dallas, so he didn't have the cash at that time to do it. So I said, that's fine. You do that and pay us back at this. The company pay us back at, you know, interest.
Yep.
I like to back and forth.
Right.
That way. So that's how Scooper Dudes. But then we had to come up with the name.
Yeah. So in franchising, you may be a Scoop Soldiers franchise, but you're Scooper Dudes LLC doing business as Scoop Soldiers.
I've always liked every business I've done or website. One of the things that EJ, why he wanted to buy my company was for my website. He said, how do you get such organic hits all the time? I said, whenever people would call me, I'd say, hey, go to my website. I'm busy right now. Fill out. I'll call you back with the quote.
Yep.
Well, at that time, it made everybody go to my website.
Okay.
Like when I got Executive Salon Suites, which is the name, I like the name.
Yeah. Stick with it.
My website, which is they wanted, was Salon Suite Rental.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And I didn't need one for the ATM because it's a different business.
Yeah.
So, or the real estate business. So, I said, here's what we'll do. We need a name that's, you know, Scooper could be ice cream, but, you know, we're going to be scooping.
Right.
I said, well, we're just three dudes. Let's do Scooper Dudes.
Perfect.
So that's how it started for some other businesses. And so we did, the three of us went in and we're all a third. And we're kind of unique as a franchise.
Okay.
John and I, and at that time, Brian was in the corporate world and he was limited on outside activities of what he could do. He had to have hands off and different things. So at that time, Brian couldn't join some other ventures that John and I talked about. Like we learned this from EJ. He would buy his own trucks and lease them to himself.
Right.
So we started Leasing Dudes, which is an LLC I'm still involved in today. And because of his and I's interest in real estate and him having to move his concrete office, and I lived in the downtown historical part of Frisco, and I'd gotten to know the city pretty well from seeing I had a historic home that was one of the original homes of Frisco that I completely macked out because I would take money from, it was my office.
Yeah.
So I could take the money from lawn care and put it in the house. How do you do that? Well, it's my office. Because it was a separate building in the back.
Yep.
And so he said, well, looking at this office, this home downtown, and it was actually on the same side street that my home was, just on the south side of town. I said, I know that area well. And he showed me the house. I said, it's a dump, just like we like at Home Investors.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, what if we buy it, refinance, take our money out, blah, blah, blah. I said, we could put scooper dudes in there, and I could get working on the house and leave Renee alone, and I'll put an office in there.
Leave Renee alone.
You know, and that would be good.
Yeah.
So office dudes formed.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you've got roll me back to, you have 11 businesses now.
we have 11 franchises.
Who's we? You and Renee, or you?
Renee, well, John, Brian, and I have 11 franchises.
Okay. So you have Orlando, Tampa, and Frisco.
4 territories in Tampa.
Gotcha.
No, yeah, 3 in Orlando with an option on 4th, and 4 in Texas.
Okay. But you also own another business on top of just on top of just anything poop related. What's your other business that's not?
Well, because when I had the Salon Suites, one of my neighbors' twin brother called me and said, hey, Ron, he had a vape shop down on Preston Road in Dallas. I said, I'm thinking about this little building, put a barber shop. I said, man, it's hot. I can't get to the barbers that want to come in here right now. It's a hot business.
Okay.
I was looking at great clips and bought a Salon Suite. And he said, he asked me to come down and look at it. I said, sure. I looked at it, and I said, what's the name? And he told me the name. I said, that's kind of a cool name. Mm-hmm. I said, I just sold my lawn care business, and,
Okay.
and got some other cash from coming in from other things. I said, needing money to start it? Mm-hmm. He said, I might. Mm-hmm. And being another guy, we're going to do it. Well, I helped him start Lucky's Barbershop.
Okay.
I'm a third owner in that.
And that's a franchise, or that's an independent?
Nope,
That's
we
an independent.
privately own that.
Okay. And how many locations does that have?
4 or 5 now.
4 or 5? It's great.
I'm so passive. When I was there, all I did was get a haircut, and which we pay for, so we get it back to ourselves. And that was one of the rules. And once a month, I'm the contact with the CPA firm, which I got from EJ, which is still in Frisco. So we use that for Lucky's.
Okay.
That's CPA.
So the 4 Lucky's are here in the
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay, they're in Dallas.
Dallas.
You're all over the place. There's a bazillion different businesses in how many different states?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so now there's the 3 of you that own. So I want to talk a little bit about what it's like to work with partners, because it's got to be right. Like I've owned. Probably like you, I have to count them out. How many businesses? I've never had a partner. My husband and I, right? But I've always run the businesses. So I'm a little hard-headed. So it's my business. You'll do it my way, and I don't know how that works.
That was the thing that EJ thought was going to be hard for me,
Okay.
because he knew me well.
Yeah.
And he was right. And my Lucky's partners, I have 2. It was 3 of us that started.
Okay.
3 guys, and 3 guys that scooper dudes. They could not be more opposite in personalities.
Is that good or bad?
It's a challenge.
Okay.
It's a learning experience of how to turn your hat and be this way. Like Lucky's, from the very beginning, I was more of a financial investor advisor.
Okay.
A few times we'd go down Saturdays when we were building another shop and help out. But I had so much else going on, I couldn't have the free time like that at the time. So, and Lucky's has bought land and trying to develop it now, doing office warehouses for future locations that I have to sign off on. But I mean, when I say passive, I call them once a month.
Like you literally go get a haircut.
Well,
not even there.
Not anymore. I just call, hey,
so you're
Ben,
so passive that you can't even get a haircut.
What's going on? What's the distribution this month? All right, I'll send it out. That's it.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. He tells me what's happening.
Okay.
He was like my home investor guy, which was good at learning.
Okay.
Brilliant mind. This guy Lucky's has patents, and he's creative. He looks outside the box. But he is like trying to fry bacon on a skillet. He is all over the board. He really is. I never know. When they said, that sounds exciting, let's see what the next call is. And so that's kind of how it is.
Right.
John's just the opposite.
Yeah.
So is Brian.
Yeah.
So
in Lucky's, it's you and 2 guys, a little bit like whack-a-mole. Right?
It is.
And on the scooper dude side, the scoop soldier side, it's you and 2 other guys, and they're maybe, I don't know, like more calm.
Very methodical, very business.
Yeah, very
the
planning.
Other guy, Lucky's makes money, a financial planner. He always asks me, I said, how do y'all do that out of a barbershop? I said, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to ask.
I don't. And Renee says, well, they shouldn't be doing this. I said, Renee, the checks have not bounced in 9 years.
Yeah, right. Just let them do it.
I said, if I have to start helping,
we'll dig in then. Yeah.
If the checks ever stop, then I'll get involved.
Okay.
And
so it's kind of like, I think I like that you've got two completely different industries, completely different partners, and for the podcast type thing, people that are watching, like I'm high strung. I've always a little bit crazy, and I'm like, that makes a good CEO. That makes a good. But then you meet John, who is a fabulous business owner, and he's calculated and he's planning. And
I knew I would need somebody like that because I didn't want to continue to run a business myself. So I looked for somebody that was opposite of me, because I'm what I call the concept of concrete guy.
Okay.
That's what I like to do.
Okay.
I did it in the corporate world where I trained and mentored people, salespeople. We were talking before the podcast about the filming for sales trainers and regional trainers. John is more laid back, hands off. And, he said, I could micromanage. I said, I don't really micromanage as much as I'm the guy fair to make sure the plates are spinning.
Okay.
I look at it from over there and I dive in if I see something.
Right.
I don't look at everything. And John now to this day says, I said, you got to remember, you're in concrete business. Your jobs are big. When we talk about, one day we were talking about scooper dudes. He said, that's not much. I said, I said, let me tell you what I used to say. I have to go cut 75 yards to make that up. How many
little things,
How many stops do we have to make? He goes, I said, I'm nickels and dimes.
Yeah.
I said, my dad taught me that. Said,
and those things add up. All those little dimes, they add up.
My dad was not, like I said, he graduated from high school and ran a business. And he said, it's not how much we sell or make, it's how much we save and cut back on them. And I remembered that was another lesson. And so when I got into lawn care, and now in this business, John is finally says, he's right. And I give him his kudos when he's right. I said, that's a profit eater. Yeah. Would you rather put it in your pocket or have it go there? Well, that's different.
Yeah.
So,
you think about that.
So that is a good thing. And I'm kind of the guy that I started the franchise. He was not involved. He probably didn't really get actively involved for about 2 or 3 years because he was so busy at his other projects.
Okay.
And I would make Renee wrote. She had a background in with HR running preschools, so she wrote our employee manual. Okay. We took it and morphed it and made it ours. Okay. And anytime an issue comes up to this day, even though that Keelan and Daniel have had HR life, they call and ask Renee, tell us about this situation, and she'll
like a sounding board.
I say, I'm out of here. Talk to her. Yeah. I get out completely.
Yeah. So on the Scoop Soldier side, because I got the opportunity to hang around with Keelan a little bit in Orlando. I went into, and for Scoop Soldiers, when we say we support our franchise owners, we really do. We fly in and work booths and do all that kind of stuff with them. So I got to meet Keelan. Seems like he's really organized. He's motivated. He's a great guy. And then here in Tampa, I spent a couple of days with Daniel in the booth here.
Who was in?
Yeah, he flew in. See, so the way you guys have Scooper Dudes, Scoop Soldiers set up is you have the 3 owners and you have a couple of managers to help you. Because you guys all 3 owners seem like they're very busy.
This is an important thing when you look at Scoop Soldiers. Okay. There's 2 ways to get into this business. Okay. And how to set it up. Okay. And it depends on where you are in life and what Funding your intents are. Yeah. And so, again, I was lazy. I didn't want to. I had cut grass. I've cut enough grass for 4 people's lifetime. I don't want to ever do it again. When we moved to the place I live in, no grass. Have you noticed?
I didn't notice that.
There's nothing here.
There's not a blade of grass in this
place. The landscape is on auto timer for sprinkler. Nothing.
When you said you're done, you meant I'm done.
Yeah. So when John and I were looking at this, and he knew, John, I think, picked it up on me that I'm not getting out scooping. Not that I couldn't do it, not that I'm above it. I'm past it. I've done it. It's like cutting
grass. Your skill set is somewhere else.
It's cutting grass. I cut grass. I started that business with the first yard. I said, I don't know if I have it in me to do it that way. So that's when he started doing the numbers. Said, well, if we do this, then we could have a manager and we could pay you a salary and you could mentor him.
Okay.
So you don't have to be there, but
be
there. The first 6 months, I hated this franchise. It's like any job you
There
take.
you go, Ron. Just plug it for me.
Well, no,
It's just a new thing. It's a new
no,
thing.
I was working again, kind
Yeah.
of.
Oh,
And,
I will say you are probably one of the maybe even the only person I've ever met that tries so hard to get out of having to work that just keeps finding work. Like it just keeps coming to you like a boomerang. You can't throw it away. It comes right back.
Seriously, I mean, and people don't believe it. They say, you know, I truly am. I mean, people say, what are your hobbies? Netflix. You know, things
Not a
like
bad
that.
hobby. Yeah.
So anyway, John enticed me, said, I don't have much time and I want for X amount of time. And I said, we could hire a guy and you could work with him. Renee and I did all the interviewing. Okay. We would meet him at the coffee shops. Now, I did my cursory. I went with him one day and walked a few yards so I could say I did it.
Yeah.
And then we were in my neighborhood. That was how lazy I was. I wouldn't go outside the neighborhood. I'm serious. There's a theme here.
Yeah, I'm picking up on it. I'm not the brightest girl you know, but I'm picking up on it.
But we had another young guy named Keelan Banaski. Mm-hmm. And the first guy really wasn't.
And he was one of your scoopers.
He was a scooper.
Okay.
He came with us from corporate. And the other guy, he was good. There's not the Peter principle. You know, the best scoopers don't become the best managers.
Yep.
Keelan was a good scooper, not the best, but he's a great manager.
Yeah.
And so when we had to part ways with the other guy, we had him and his wife over at the time and at my home in Frisco, and we kind of and had John and his wife Elizabeth, and we broke the news. So, well, we got some news. We got good news, bad news, and bad news is your manager now is no longer with us. Mm-hmm. Good news is you're now the manager.
So what kind of face did you get on that one?
He turned white.
Yeah.
You know, like I did that day, just pale, you know, like scared to death.
Yeah.
And I said, here's the thing. I know you're not ready. Mm-hmm. I'm going to help you every step of the way.
Yeah. And he's got it in him, man. He has it.
We've seen it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And here in the last year or so, lights turned on. Mm-hmm.
Like the dominoes are like falling into place.
There were times that John and I, Brian, would have talk. We said, God, we love him, but he may not be the guy. But let's keep plugging till we find the guy.
Him, yeah.
Or, you know, and well, let's see if he's going to turn a corner. And there was a couple things, and I've told him, I said, there's a couple times where God, oh my God, he could have turned a corner and he took the wrong turn again. That's okay. I stayed on him.
Yeah.
And you know, John would say something, you're calling him at 8 o'clock at night. I said, John, he calls me at 10:30 sometimes. I said, I have a 24/7 rule. If you need something, I don't care. You call me. If it's 1 a.m. or something's bothering, I go back to sleep easily. So I'm not a problem. And he will do that. Mm-hmm. And sometimes John said, well, you have that relationship with him. You go talk to him about that. Okay. And I talk to Keelan frequently. Yeah. That John does because he's in the office. Yeah. But Keelan would call me, and he's a great note taker, and he'd say, how do I handle a situation? And I have all these Ronisms, as they call them in the corporate world now, he does, of sayings that I would say. Mm-hmm. And I would say, okay, let's use this as a learning experience. I said, this is where my granddad's coming in. Here's my saying, inspect what you expect. Yeah. Is so-and-so doing these reports? Well, I told him that. I said, are you inspecting it? Yeah. Are you inspecting it? Well, are you expecting it? Then inspect it. Yeah. And he's got a whole file of all these things that I've told him, you know.
And that's franchising. Franchising is about process and procedure, documentation. And actually, I'll even say as a business owner, you know, the business owner does so many things. When you go to sell your business, you need to have stuff, sorry,
a process.
I'm hoarse from your event, Ron. Have everything ready so that you can sell that business and unplug you and plug in the new owner. And you cannot be the main spoke in your business doing and knowing everything, because you can't sell it because the new person needs to know.
And Keelan is the best at because he'll come up with something, and I'll say, like we had problems with employees, and I learned some of this from Renee. They quit without notice. Well, but that can get expensive, and they keep our T-shirts, and we give them a list of things that gets expensive. So in her preschool, they had their thing, and the handbook says, we run background checks, we do all this. If you leave without notice or within this time period, we're charging you back. Yeah. And we have
you can't take our stuff. It's our stuff.
We have them sign this before they do their first training. Okay. And we go and And that's when Renee, we taught Keelan and everybody else, when we go through the handbook, say, here's some things we point out, we highlight it. You should read this.
Right.
But
we're showing you.
We're telling you, and you're signing for here. Just want to make sure you're aware of it, so it never comes back on us. And so now, if they quit without notice, or if they leave with our $75 jackets.
Yeah, that stuff adds up.
Keelan, I had all this in lawn care, but Keelan is good at putting the process and digitizing it. And so between he and I can conceptualize it, and he can get it in and run with it. And he comes up with his own some. But
my gosh, man, like
I'm still, a lot of the ideas and stuff, he'll take it and he'll expand on it, make it better.
That's perfect.
So I try to plant the seed and he expanded. So we have checklists where they check in.
Okay.
And they sign off, and there's a value by each one of them.
So
when they leave, he goes and checks it off. Now, whoever checks out that person that leaves, Daniel or trainers, they go through the list. They don't have to do anything. It's the process.
Yeah. So as you guys, and I love that as you guys as you invested into your into Lucky's and Scoop Soldiers, you had a plan that you were achieving, like moving towards, right? So you guys, you said this is going to be, it seems like a great idea. It's a great concept. We have the right people. We have the investment. Before we dump our money into it, let's think like one step ahead and say, okay, once we're running, who's doing all this stuff? And then you were able to find someone. The first guy didn't take, which often happens. Keelan's the guy, and it sounds like he actually has, like he's almost like the fourth partner, but not. Like
he's a company.
He fills
he's
in
our
all the
company
gaps.
manager.
Yeah, he seems to fill in all those gaps of all the things. And just from my time with him and Daniel too, just from my time with him in the booth, is he's not just a doer. Like he can see stuff, and if something's not right, it seems like he catches more. He's not just checking the box and move. Daniel too, not just checking the box and moving on. Man, Daniel, that Tampa's hot. We learned that Tampa's hot, and Daniel was in that poop suit all day long. I had to literally instruct him to go back to the truck and get in the air conditioning. I'm like, you need to go. Like he didn't want to leave the booth.
Here's the thing. I used to play football, and I came from a football background growing up a lot. And I remember my coach said, I'd rather have 12 guys with heart and no talent that want to play well together than 12 guys who have it and don't do it. Daniel was one of those guys. He didn't really have the talent and the polish when it came to it, but he wanted to learn.
He wanted it, yeah.
So I said, I will work, and I've told him, I said, we will work. We've had to have those conversations where he's made mistakes, he's done it.
Who doesn't?
And I say, Daniel, we're going to lose this to the learning experience. I said, listen, here's what you do. Here's why. Why did you do that? And I've always told all my employees, don't lie to me.
Oh yeah, my things are don't lie to me and don't be lazy. Like that's always and I've even joked. I'm like, I mean this nicely, but when I really, I don't want to say something stupid, but when I'm talking with my nephews, right? They're 16, 15, almost 16, 16 and 7 or 18. I'm like, in life, there's things that don't work in your favor. You could be a big old dummy, and we might not be able to fix that. But we can fix. Show up to work and do the best you can, and don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Like that, you know what I mean? Like you may be tall or short or whatever your thing is. There's some things you can't change, but what you can change is your effort and your integrity and your hardworking values. Like those are the things. If you find that as a business owner, you see that in Daniel and Keelan, whoever else it is, you find a spot and you nurture that so that they can mentor up and do the next generation or the next round coming in. And that's something
Keelan's
that people
taking
don't
that because when he in his interview, and he knew because he would watch me interview people. I said, "There's 3 things I'm looking for when I'm interviewing people," and I won't go through all of them. But one of them, I said, "Don't lie to me." I said, "You're going to make a mistake."
Yeah,
now,
own
let
it.
me tell you what happens. If I find out from a customer, if you've ever watched Shark Tank, I'm like Kevin O'Leary. You're dead to me. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I ever quit trying to correct you and help you, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
You want to come to me and say, Ron, I made this mistake, and I may be mad and get aggravated because that's just the nature of Italians. But you know what? You won't get fired, and I won't stop supporting you.
Yeah.
And I've told
it's true. That is true in life for anything.
I've told that to every person who's ever worked for me, and Kaylin especially, and Daniel. I said, and he's been, and they know because Daniel did something. It wasn't really egregious, but he did something kind of boneheaded, and I said, has he talked to John? I said, yeah, but he's really dreading your call.
Good.
I'm the guy they don't want to talk to.
Yeah. So when I owned my business, if I had to fire somebody, I would go to our shop, and if my technicians knew when I got there, if my truck was in the lot, they wouldn't come inside. I'm like, you 6 go out, you come in. And they would stand outside in the Chicago winters waiting to see who was coming in. I'm like, you 2 go, you're in. Like, because like if I'm same thing, I'm happy to help, I'm happy to support, I want to, nurture people along, but there's a line for certain things where I'm like, this is the non-negotiable. You knew it was a non-negotiable. You didn't tell me that you did this. And now we have to undo what you did. If you would have come to me and said, I did X, Y, Z, I would have been like, okay, well, that sucks, but let's figure it out. When I got to get the call from the customer, where I find out there's a dent in the back tailgate and no one, you knew how that happened.
That actually happened.
Yeah, like you knew how that happened.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of dent didn't happen on its own.
Yeah, and I would tell the guy, especially in my lawn care days, I said, if I find a dent, you don't tell me, it's coming out of your check.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, let's go back to starting a franchise. 2 ways to come in as Scoop Soldiers. And I told you, I started cutting grass the first yard.
Yep.
You can start Scoop Soldiers that way. It depends on your age, your intent, financial, and where you want to go with this. John, because of his involvement in other businesses at the time, and at that point I was grandpa age, and I just didn't feel like I had it in me again to do it again.
Scoop is a lot of work.
Yes, I cut grass. And, I was 65 or 64 at the time. And I said, I just don't want to do it again.
You paid your dues.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do something, but so that's when John, knowing that, manipulated the numbers and said, well, we can do this and we can hire this and you could. Okay. Now I can mentor. I like doing. I've done it 25 years in the corporate world, so I can do that.
It's just who you are too.
Yeah,
it's just who you are.
I like doing it, and it kind of keeps me off Renee, so she likes it. So that's why we did that. But we came in and we took so much ribbon. You're the only franchise we have in the country that pays somebody not to scoop. We have a lot. If you look at a pyramid of a company structure, we were inverted.
Yeah, well,
we were top heavy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I had other things going. I had the barbershop, and John had this. So it wasn't.
But you went into it with a plan. Like there was a plan of how we were going to do it.
Oh, John had run the numbers out. He had all.
I don't even want to know all the numbers.
Rest assured, he had the numbers extrapolated out.
So let me kind of ask you this as we kind of wrap up a little bit. So we're 11 businesses.
Franchises.
11 franchises. You're trying real stinking hard to not work, but it seems to not be going well.
4 LLCs.
Yeah, 4 LLCs. So in your efforts to not do more work, what's your next business?
No, I'm actually in the process now of had our attorney, and honestly, well, before I tell you this, this is a funny story too, but I said, let's come up with some exit plans. I said, everything's fine, but
right.
Like John has started a venture with this dog retreat, which is a great idea.
Okay.
And he said, you want to come in? I said, what's the payoff? I said, about 7 years. I said, I want to spend right now. I just want to spend, and we're spending. So some of the toys. I've never been a toy guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing it.
Good.
Okay, because I worked without vacations for years. So anyway, just had friends from Texas visiting, and they're looking at an office evolution franchise.
Okay.
You know what they are?
I've heard of them. I've not investigated, but
They are the real estate. They are the office of Salon Suites.
Okay.
They lease massive amounts of space and sublease offices to people who don't want to work from home.
Okay.
For conference rooms.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
Well, they're actually I have rented those before in California and other places. I thought I've always liked that concept, but I just never done it.
Yeah.
Well, he came down and visited, and there's 2 franchises here, and I said, can we run by there on the way from the airport? I said, well, it's right by the airport. Yeah, let's swing in there. And he said he's going to go in. I said, well, I don't want to sit in the car. So let's go in there. So
he's like just reeling you.
No. He's
well,
looking for himself.
But he knows like you just have the brain that like whatever you're looking at, you're like, oh man, I can make this better. So probably maybe more unintentionally.
Well, you want to know my
right?
opinion on it?
Yeah.
Well, the first time he called me, I said, I'd do it. And let me look into it, but I like the concept. And I just knew it was a good concept because of demographics and factors. Well, we go in there and we're sitting in the lobby while he's taking a tour with the people. And so one of the guys, that's like this backup developer like you.
Okay.
Is talking to me, and I'm talking to him about it, and I said, wait a minute, just so you're clear, I'm done. I'm not going to. I said, I know, I'm telling you all the positive things and why I like it. I'm trying to sell him for you. And
what part of your
looked
commission?
at wife, and she goes, "Will you get nervous?" She goes, "I was."
So,
She
to
was
Renee?
in the lobby with us.
Oh. So when would we expect you to be the newest franchise owner for that concept?
I'm not going to do it. No,
Are we betting?
I'm done. I really.
Pinky swearing?
I pinky swear. No, I didn't. In fact, I'm the 4 LLCs. There's one so I'm negotiating now to sell out.
Okay.
And like I don't ever like anything up front. I said, let's do a little 7-year payoff.
Yeah, right. It makes it easier for the person
Again,
buying too.
it's my plan. My attorney got me started in this in Dallas.
Okay.
When I had all these businesses, he said, let's sell them every 2 years and then put some money back so you have something else coming in. And that's what I did and went with partners. So right now, it's perfect. Things happen, especially when you're running multi-territories like you are. We have franchises that are doing it from other states, and they're better managers than I am. I don't know how they're doing it. They're good.
Okay.
I'm more hands-on. I guess I could, I manage it from here to Keelan's in Texas, but it's nice having them there when somebody needs to be there.
Yeah.
So it's good. But we are kind of unique in the Scoop Soldiers world.
So in your from corporate to pretty much nothing when you got laid off to let me just start mowing some lawns to Dallas,
Soldiers.
yeah, to Dallas empire of lawn mowing meets this crazy guy EJ who just I guess wowed you with his personality.
He's smart. I was always good, and I don't have any errors about me. And I said, here's the guy who started on the back of a landscape truck. I don't think he went to school, but he's smarter than I am.
Yeah, he is.
I always said, I said, EJ, I've told him this when he would come on these meetings every 3 to 6 months when he was buying my business, and he'd run stuff by me. I said, EJ, if I was your age, I would either follow you or do everything exactly the way you're doing it. That's and that's the faith I had in him. And so that's why I told him that about the franchise. And I was mad that they sold one to someone else, which is why I said, well, if you're not going to sell us the first one, that's how the decision made to not do one by myself.
Yeah.
I said, you know what, John, let's pull up and let's buy.
We'll buy them all.
Let's buy and let's buy their 2 biggest territories to be the biggest franchise at that time. And so we met the other franchise, and he was a passive owner, and he had a sibling or stepson or somebody running it, and never met him, but all of our guys met him. And the stories I heard, I said, it's going to be a matter of time. And sure enough, I said, we put it out there. Just let him know if he gets tired of it, we're interested. So technically, we owned the first franchise they ever sold. But
you just did it backwards.
Yes, and the third one they
sold.
And the third? Because he was mad that the guy sold to, EJ sold to me before him. So we have the 2 franchises of the people they did before and back of us. One was mad at us and one we were mad at. Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
Your story is, I could talk to you for days and hours, like your energy, like you're just, and you're, so you've said multiple times that, EJ's really smart and John's really smart and, Keelan's really, all these people, I don't know, like you keep saying you're lazy. I don't think you are. I think you're way more smart. I almost said way more smarter, like way more smart than you're giving yourself credit to.
I'm lucky to find the people that compliment me. I have been very fortunate to find people that compliment me, that have helped me. And I learned this in college. I never forget, again, I kind of mentioned like EJ didn't go, but he's the smartest guy I've ever met. And I remember his doctor, I went to his doctor, he was one of my marketing class. He said, if you guys don't learn something in college, I want you to remember this. He said, going to college doesn't make you smart, but you need to learn. You can never stop learning and always know what you don't know and learn from somebody else. Yeah. And so when I meet people, I don't care if they got a 3rd grade education, what can I learn from them?
Yeah, and my husband has even said too, like, so I'm a beekeeper and I went to beekeeping class and all that kind of stuff. Watched a lot of YouTube videos, and we were watching one day, and I'm ants in the pants, I can't sit still. And we were watching a video, and the guy that was on there was a real ding dong. And my husband's like, you should still watch it because you can learn a lot from people that do things wrong. I'm like, that's true too. Like, right? Like there's so much opportunity in life to just look around, take a breath, take a step back, look around, and just see what you can learn from whoever it is. And then I guess probably the most impressive thing that I think about you is that you've always been open to seeing what's next. You don't put yourself in a box where you're like, nope, I only do lawn care, or I only do this, that, or the other. Like, even when you're telling them like, this is not a good fit for me, and they're like, well, you should look at it. You're like, maybe you should, right? Like, I think that as we're talking, some of the opportunities that I probably have passed by because I wasn't patient enough to stop and say, let me see the numbers, right? I'm like, nope, can't do that, and just keep moving on. So let's wrap with what would you think if there's someone watching that maybe says, oh, maybe I want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe I might want to start a business. What would one piece of advice that you would give them?
And I've done this with the guy in the lawn care business.
Okay.
He came to my office when he worked at one of the places where I bought my power equipment and everything. And
no, you're good.
and
Jeremy's tweaking back there, but you're good.
Right.
It actually makes me feel better when Jeremy's a little nervous back there.
Right. Well, anyway, I never forget this guy's name was. He knew mechanics,
Okay.
and he was the mechanic guy that worked on my machines when I brought him here. And he was going to go into his own lawn care business. And I'm mechanical, but that's another thing that I hate. And people said, how are you going to do this? You don't know anything about mowers. And I said, well, I always wanted to run a mail order company. That's what I used to tell my dad when he would say, work. And I ran my company like a mail order company. I didn't go see the yards. I did everything from the computer. I take the order and send my crew.
Okay.
That's mail order for me.
Okay.
I literally remember, because I was always studying mail order business back when it was a thing. It's not anymore. So I said, I'm going to set it up that way. So that's our set. The one thing I would tell people, because I remember when I was doing it, he came to me one night and he had started his business. I don't know why I did this. He said, man, I hate this. I said, I've moved all over the country. The one thing that I learned, I never said I liked a city or didn't like a job until I did it for 1 year.
Okay.
1 year. And I said, Walt, I gave him a deadline. Do it to this. I did it more seasonal because of lawn care. I said, do it to this day. If you don't like it, come see me. He came back and said, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
You told
right.
me. I was going out to Portland, see our family. They have a franchise out there. EJ asked me to see him.
Yeah.
Well, I went and saw him, and we met for lunch, and I could tell he was a little discouraged
Yeah.
about it. I said, let me tell you something. I've been where you're at. I can tell you this, you can't see it now, but I can see it. I'm just going to tell you, give it 1 year. If you don't like it, get out.
Okay.
If you don't see it, or give it 2 years. I said, it's going to take you 3 years to really see a business. So remember that.
Yeah.
But if you got to see progress in the years, like I did in lawn care, I hated that first year, but I saw something. I said, at the end of your sit down, don't think about how you liked it. Think how you could see if you could take the next step.
Okay.
He's a great franchise now.
He is.
And I asked EJ, I said, I hope I encouraged him, because he was very waffly when I met him.
Yeah. No, I've had several calls. I'm going to be out in Portland to help him in a couple of weeks, month, something like that. But my conversations have been great. He's a great guy. You're right. Like there's an uphill. You just like, I tell people when you buy a franchise, start a business, you're not going to sign your franchise agreement on June 1st and then June 2nd run up to the bank catching big bags of money. Like it doesn't work that way, right? It's like your dad said, you got to work hard and kind of build it up.
So if you're going to start a scoop sandwich franchise, here's my biggest piece of advice. 2 ways to go in, as we've talked about. Regardless of which way you go in with the attitude, I'm not going to even make it think about getting out for 1 year.
Okay.
At the end of the year, think about, okay, if I'd have done this right, could I be here in year 2?
Okay.
And just keep in your mind, there is no big rich, unless you hit the lottery, it's not coming that way. Stack the nickels and dimes.
Yeah.
Keep stacking them. Tell yourself, it's going to be 3 years before I can really live off this, if I need to, where I can truly be independent. And go into it with that mindset. If you go into it less than that, you will fail, and you will get out, and you will regret it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, being a business owner, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right? Right. Well, I really appreciate your time. I know I saw Renee come back in, and I saw we had like a little thing. I saw her. She knows that we're kind of wrapping up, but I really do appreciate your time with us. And you know, I think my advice would be is to people that maybe are considering. They can always reach out to us. I can get you in touch with Ron if you had questions for him. But really, just take the step back.
Call me because I've known him for the longest.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're trying to. As you say, I don't want any more work. You're like, call me.
Yeah.
You don't know how to not do things, right? Like you literally just said, I'm done. I'm not doing anything else, but call me. It's like ridiculous. And I also love it. You're just a natural networker. You're a great business owner. And I think probably the best compliment I could give you is that you are true to who you are, and you are an excellent mentor. So I think if you find someone, I'd say step back, take a look around. Don't ever kind of poo-poo or dismiss an opportunity till you've done your due diligence and really made sure that it's what you want. Ron's advice, which I agree with also, is to really, get in there, dig in hard, give it at least a year, really, make sure it's great. And before all of that, as you're looking at opportunities, find yourself a mentor, find yourself somebody, even a competitor in the market, and approach them, gently, right? And
EJ did that.
And learn from them, and kind of go from there. So, of course, we always thank people for watching our podcast. We really do hope that we find great guests that can help inspire people either into business or in life in general, and hopefully kind of do their thing and kind of grow.
And don't let anybody laugh at you about picking up dog poop. I came from the corporate world, and when I got into this, everybody laughed at us. Thus the term T-pig. I said, man, we're T-pigging. And my friends would say, what are you doing? I said, we're turning poop into gold.
Right. I always said it smells like money to me.
And I told EJ, I said, I'm done. This is my tagline. If I was doing it, this would be my tagline. And EJ is taking it.
We're T-pigging. We're T-pigging. I'll be T-pigging in Portland. We're T-pigging down here. So, but yeah, I think you're right. Take a step back, figure it out, put in the hard work. And like I said, if you're lucky enough to find a Grandpa Ron somewhere to lean into and grab a cup of coffee, don't pass that opportunity up. Make sure that you take advantage of people that want to give help, and hopefully you'll continue to watch our episodes and learn a little bit more.